Which supplements should I take for motocross? Should I take any? Are there some supplements to avoid? We will talk about this in depth right now. So here's my stance on supplements. Personally, I do believe in taking supplements. I'm not a holistic health nut. I'm not gonna be eating plants and wearing those shoes that separate your toes, you know what I'm saying? Where like you're wearing shoes, but it still looks like you're barefoot. Ugh. However, supplements are meant to do just that. They're meant to supplement a whole food diet. If it exists as a supplement, that means we can reasonably say that it existed as a food first, right? And a whole food diet is always going to be way better than a crap diet with a bunch of supplements. Supplements in general can be a really good thing. They are what I would say both convenient and really precise. Now, what do I mean by that? If you're looking to input something into your diet, let's say you want more protein, it's really hard to get something that's just straight protein without it coming with something else. Like if you say, well, I'm gonna go eat a steak to get my protein up, that's great, but it also contains a lot of fat. So if you want something that's just protein or you want just electrolytes, if I tell you to go get an electrolyte drink from a gas station, that electrolyte drink probably also contains sugar in it, which is not a bad thing per se, but if you only want electrolytes, it can be tough to get that in a pure form without extra stuff added into it. So with all that said, you know where I stand on supplements. There are 2 supplements that I recommend, and there's 1 supplement that I think you should be careful with. All right, let's get into those right now. Quick disclaimer, I am not a doctor. I don't know your medical history. None of this is intended to be medical advice. If you're uneasy about supplements, talk to your doctor. Plain and simple, okay? All right, so the first supplement that I do highly recommend everybody take is Whey Protein. We need a lot of protein, okay? In general, I recommend the average athlete take between 0.7 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. So for me, I'm 165 pounds, so that equates to 115 to 165 grams of protein per day. Why do we need so much protein? Well, anytime you ride and get sore, anytime you lift weights and get sore, or you do cardio and get sore, if your legs are sore from running, that is literal damage to the muscles and the connective tissues that make up your body, right? We need protein to repair those tissues, to repair the muscle, repair the connective tissues, and just overall to help you recover. If you're constantly working out, constantly riding, you have lots of damage. Even if you don't feel it, even if you're not sore, you are damaging. That's what's causing your body to adapt. Now, if we don't give it enough protein to rebuild, you're not really gonna rebuild stronger. You're just gonna recover to sort of a minimum level, and you're never really gonna see any improvement. So adequate protein is so important. Now it's tough, you know, it's like, let's say I'm trying to get between 115 and 165 grams of protein per day. That's really tough to get just by eating food. Do you have any idea how much chicken breast that would be to get 165 grams? Pounds. Not only do we not want to eat like that, but we don't have to eat like that. That's why supplements come into play. Now, of course, we do have the opposite end of the spectrum where we have people that eat 2 Pop-Tarts in the morning and then drink 6 protein shakes as a way to hit their macros for the day. If that sounds like you, I want you to take a step back, reevaluate what you're doing, and consider maybe an alternate path moving forward. So again, muscle soreness equals damage. Protein powder equals repair. We take protein to recover from our training. Usually, most training results in some type of muscle damage. That's why we get sore. That's why we get fatigued. If you're not taking enough protein to help your body rebuild, it will still rebuild, but it'll have to come up with it some other way, and it's really gonna be only recovering to a minimum level instead of actually pushing past and becoming better from it. So when should I take my protein? Well, if you're just starting out, you're new to protein powders, don't really worry so much about when you should take it. Just make sure you're hitting your daily totals. If you're 165 pounds like me, just whenever you have to take it, whenever you can fit it in your stomach and it, sits okay. I do want you to be careful about taking it before you ride. Protein is not meant to give you energy. That's what carbs are for. That's what fats are for. Don't take a protein shake before a moto thinking it's going to do anything for you. It will not. Okay? I don't promise a lot on this channel. I promise you that. Protein shake's not going to give you any energy, just stomach cramps and possibly the shits. Anyways, if you're trying to get more serious and you want to start messing around with nutrient timing, I would say just a general rule of thumb, when you're done with training for the day and recovery has begun, that's where the protein shake goes. So finish riding, do your gym, whatever, within 30 minutes of finishing your gym session, pop a protein shake. Brand recommendation. My favorite whey protein powder is Bear Performance Nutrition. I think that their supplements are great. I like Nick Bear. I like what he stands for. I think it's a good product. It's all sport tested, so you can be sure there's no banned substances. And they really spend, here's a little insight to supplement companies. If it's a small company, there is a cheaper form of testing where they only test maybe one product in the batch. They spend a lot of money because they're a big operation on getting their products tested. So they will send whole pallets of product to get tested for banned substances, because sometimes there are tainted supplements, and that's just part of the industry. There's not great regulation, but I do think that they are good about being transparent. They've made videos where they bring us into the actual facilities that are manufacturing the product. So I trust a company like that, and it tastes phenomenal. So the second supplement that I recommend everybody at least try is hydration mixes. Motocross imposes a particularly high hydration demand. This happens for a few reasons. We have excessive heat. The bike produces heat. We're covered head to toe in gear, and we can't drink during a race. Well, you can, but everybody knows that rider that wears a Camelback at the track, and we all know and just kind of subconsciously agree amongst us that we don't want to be that person. So the thing you need to consider is that when we talk about hydration, we don't only mean water. The other half of that equation, dare I say 60% of that equation, is going to be electrolytes. Sodium is the most important electrolyte. That's because when we sweat, sodium is the electrolyte that we're going to lose. Yes, we need potassium. Yes, we need calcium. We need these other things for a variety of different reasons in our body. But I would say number one that we need is sodium, because when we sweat, we're losing it. All right, so we have to get it back in. When should I take my electrolyte supplement? My rule of thumb is after your first session and the sweat has started to roll. You can show up already hydrated, you can take it an hour, 30 minutes before your first riding session. There is a chance that because the sodium's main job is to keep water in your body, that's how it keeps you hydrated, it could possibly cause a little bit more arm pump. That's not for sure. It's something that we've seen a lot here at MTF. If guys are overhydrated, if we're used to training in 95-degree weather and the guys are taking electrolyte supplements left and right, and then one day we have a cool front and it's only 80 degrees and they took the same hydration mix, well, now they're not sweating as much, and now there's a lot more water just hanging out in their body, and that is possibly going to show up as worse arm pump. So I would say once the sweat starts to roll, you're worried about just kind of keeping a constant flow of electrolyte drink mix coming in. So I would start sipping on it and maybe go 50-50 with electrolytes and water after your first session, after the sweat has started to roll. My brand recommendation, Bear Performance Nutrition. I think their concentration is really good. It has 500 milligrams of sodium per scoop. That's way more than any other company that I've seen. It tastes good, and it mixes really well. So I definitely recommend their product. All right, on to almost one of the more controversial, definitely most asked about supplements, creatine. Let's break this down. What you should know. Creatine gives you more energy when you work out, but it's pretty marginal. We're not talking about, how you feel when you take pre-workout or when you drink coffee. You don't get all jittery and feel like you could choke out a bowl. You do get a little bit of an energy lift in terms of when you're lifting weights, you can push harder throughout, probably the whole session, and especially in the last 2 to 3, maybe 4 reps of each exercise or each set. So it's not going to be absolutely game changing, but you will notice a difference. I would say that it's mainly beneficial for people who are lifting weights. Creatine is used as energy in the highest proportion for things that are short and intense, right? Short in duration, really big intensity. So that'd be something like weightlifting, where we're teaching our body how to produce a lot of force in a short amount of time and we get lots of rest. That doesn't mean that you won't see some benefit in things like endurance training, because you definitely will. I just think that it'll be less obvious. Another thing about creatine is you can't just take it when you feel like it. You don't take it before a workout. It's something that you actually have to take, most creatine monohydrate pills, you take them 3 times a day for a month, 2 months, and then you stay on them because there's a loading period. as you take the supplements, it's sort of building up in your body, and it does take some time for it to reach peak concentration. If you think you're just gonna take it before each workout and only when you work out, that's not the case. For it to be most effective, you're going to have to take creatine maybe 3 times a day, every day, for however long you wish to be taking it. Another thing that is really important, and I think this is where a lot of the controversy comes into play, is that your body will hold another 8 to 10 pounds of water. Why does this happen? Well, in order to store creatine, your body needs water, right? So it's going to bind to the creatine. Water is going to bind to the creatine, and then both the creatine and the water will be stored in your body. That's why when you lift weights, that's where the pump comes from, because as your muscles contract, they're using creatine. It uses the creatine part and splits off the water, and the water just kind of hangs out in the muscles. Sometimes it goes into the blood volume. Not trying to get too sciencey, just letting you know that when you use your muscles, it does release water that comes from the water needed to hold the creatine in your body. You could potentially hold 8 to 10 pounds of extra water. Why is that a problem? Extra water in the body could produce more pump, which obviously if you struggle with arm pump, it could make your arm pump worse. If you talk to anybody who's in the sport, like I was just having a conversation with Martin Davalos, and he said, absolutely I stay away from creatine at all costs because that will give me arm pump. It's gonna make me hold more water. I feel kind of puffy, and then that shows through as arm pump. So if you're somebody that struggles with arm pump, be careful. Now, should you take it? The one good thing about creatine is that if there is something, if you are taking it and there's something you don't like, all of the effects are completely reversible. All you have to do is stop taking it. So if you do hold some water and it is giving you worse arm pump, you don't like the way you feel, stop taking it. It's gonna work its way out of your system, it'll be gone, you're back to normal. It is 100% safe. It's the most researched supplement on the market. So if you want to try it, there's no harm in trying it. But just don't be concerned if you hold water, the scale goes up. It's not going to blow you up like a balloon. You know, we're talking 8 to 10 pounds of water spread out over your entire body. It's not just going to show up just in your forearms. But it does have the potential to make some worse arm pump. All in all, do I think it's worth it? No, not really. I think that you can find plenty of other ways to get energy, whether it's caffeine, whether it's just getting good sleep, eating good food, making sure you're eating enough carbs every day. I think that supplements are all extra. I don't think you have to do anything, but if you're looking for an edge, if you're not competing and you just want to try something, there's no harm in trying. So if you're curious, give it a shot. Brand recommendation, Bare Performance Nutrition. No, BPN does not sponsor me, and they probably should, but I really like their products. I like Nick, I like what he stands for, I like what their company does, and I'm only going to use products that I use personally and that I really believe in. So my last little point is if you're tired of not knowing what to do in the gym, you should join MTF Online. Basically, we take our workouts that we do every day with our members here at MTF, we put them online for you guys to have access to. We do live Q&As. You get me and the head track trainer, Brian Johnson, as your personal coaches. You can ask us questions. We can help you with your program. We do video review, we do riding training programs, like programs that are meant for you to bring to the track, so we can give you some training structure there, teach you some drills that we use. It's really good stuff, it's really good training, and trust me, like I'm a professional trainer, this is how I pay my bills, and I pay somebody else to write my programs for me. It frees up so much mental energy. All you have to do is show up to the gym or the track, pull out your phone, look at the program, and focus all of your energy on what matters, and that's the training. All right, that'll do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.